I think back a few years back now where I was out shopping. Those of us who are in the sales world, we kind of are interested in what happens in all various aspects of sales. And so, except for me, tell them I'm busy. Thanks. Okay, so a few years ago I was out and I was shopping. I spent a whole day actually shopping for furniture and for cars and now I wasn't going to buy anything. It was just study day. That was it for me. I go out and I study salespeople. I actually do this on a regular basis. And I was actually in a car dealership and I was just sort of watching what the salesperson did and how his presentation technique was and how it all went. And we ended up going for a test drive. He was really good. So we ended up going for a test drive for no particular reason because I wasn't in the market for a car. But we ended up driving this really fun, sporty convertible. It was kind of fun. I was driving along and he found out what kind of car I drive and I told him what I drove and he says, "Oh, okay, so you kind of drive the family car." I had to stop him and say, "Hold on a second, I do not drive a family car." Oh my God, I drive a family car. How did that happen? I drive a family car. He finds out what I did. He finds out that I travel for a living. He says, "Oh, I get it. I understand. You're in rental cars all the time. You come home on the weekend, you want your car, right? Is that it?" Driving the car down the road and I'm going, "Yeah, that's right. Rental cars. Oh, my car. Thank you very much." We get to the end of the test drive, we get out of the car, and Garrett, the salesperson, who might be 28 years old, walks by the car, walks by this sporty convertible. And as we're walking by the car, he does this. He looks at the car and he goes, "Someday." What do you think this speaks to me? Someday, Garrett? Someday? Yes, Garrett, for you, someday. For me, today, right now. My wife was in Europe at the time, and I bought a convertible. I picked her up at the airport. She goes, "Where's the car?" "It's right here." Then I hugged her and said, "Don't ever leave me again," which she said, "I can't afford to leave you again." You have to break that down and figure out what happened earlier this year. One of the things I love about these shows is you get to see all the cool products. You get to see what's coming down the line next. And earlier this year at a different builder show, I saw a new product that's coming up. It was actually a company that has a lighting display. And I stopped and I was talking to him. Here's the way it works. It's 3 in the morning. You get out of bed. You stand up. There's a sensor that senses your weight under the carpet. And when you stand up, low-level lights go on that outline your baseboards from your bed to your toilet. Okay? Now, I'm kind of curious. How many of you think that I just described the coolest invention in the history of the planet? Anybody? When I'm looking at this and I'm like, "Oh, that is unbelievably cool. It's going to outline my baseboards from my bed to my toilet." I'm loving it. Let me tell you why I'm loving it. Let me tell you why I had such a positive reaction to this product. Because 3 years ago, I broke this toe at 3 in the morning. And I got to tell you, I have never actually delivered a child, but I cannot imagine it would have been as painful. Sorry, lady. Oh, just kidding, lady. It was excruciating. It was agonizing to be there. Now, here's what I did. I didn't ever want that to happen again because we know what this is like. I mean, Myers, how hard would it be to travel with a broken toe, right? I mean, it just wouldn't be impossible, right? So I found a solution. I bought this motion-centered nightlight. And you plug it in, and when you get up, it trips. Now, here's the thing. I didn't know any better. This thing is so bright, you could do surgery by my nightlight. It's like my neighbor's going to call the next day, "Hey, so you had to use the restroom in the middle of the night." I mean, it was so bright, but it worked. And until I found something that was a better solution than what I had, I didn't even realize how great my need was. You see, one of the things that top sales professionals will do is that they will take their product and maximize its impact by making sure that the demonstration is not about the product. The single biggest problem that I think we have in sales today, not just in our industry, but frankly in every industry, salespeople are so hung up on their product that they forget how the product applies to the customer's mission. And now we come back to what we were talking about earlier. You see, if this product does not specifically apply to my mission, it holds no value for me. That's the issue. That's the concern. And yet what we see over and over again is that we see product training, and there's nothing wrong with product training. Don't get me wrong. You should be product trained. But if the extent of your conversation is to talk about how great your product is, then what you're really saying to your customer, stand there, open wide, I'm going to jam this down your throat, and then you can describe the taste. The next thing you know, you end up with a presentation of a home that says, well, this is the kitchen. That would explain the refrigerator being here. Do you like the cabinets? Because you don't get them. Let me tell you what you do get. Standard feature, optional, standard feature, optional feature, standard optional decorator item. Don't even ask about it. Okay? And this becomes the extent of our presentation. And I'm going to suggest to you that when we're going to look at demonstration technique and what we are doing as we demonstrate our product, that we have to come clear to this premise more than anything else. Effective demonstration is not about the product. It's about the customer. I'm going to suggest one other thing here to you, because we obviously, in 15 minutes, we hardly have time to do a full treatise on how we demonstrate a home. But there are a couple of critical principles that you better understand, and that is one of them. If I can't make this presentation about the customer, then I will feature dump. I will have no choice. I will have to feature dump. We all know we're not supposed to, but we all fall into that trap. Why? Because we don't know our customer well enough. If you know your customer well enough, they will show you how to demonstrate your product. That's the idea. That's the goal. I had said in the last segment, you know your customer well enough, they will literally show you how to sell them a home. The sales path will roll out right in front of you. But if we're going to talk about demonstration practices, then I'm going to tell you, you got to rethink a couple of things. First, you have to rethink that. The demonstration is not about the product. The demonstration is about the customer. But you need to rethink this too. You need to think, what is my purpose? What is my purpose in a demonstration? Why am I doing this in the first place? I'm walking somebody through a home. Why? If you can't come clear to that one with a hurry, all the technique in the world will be misguided if your purpose is misguided. You can apply great technique to the wrong intention and you'll have a lousy presentation. This is my concern. So let's talk about the goal of the demonstration and get our head around that for just a moment. I just finished a book, the writing part of the book. It'll be out late this year. Very excited about it. And one of the things that I did in the book was I spent several sessions, about 5 hours actually, with Dr. Jeffrey Stone. He's a psychologist. There were things about this book that were beyond my pay grade, so to speak. There were some very deep issues. I had a whole deep dive in the principles of cognitive behavioral theory. It was fascinating. It was great, but I didn't want to make it up, so I spent some time with Dr. Stone. And one of the things that we did was we were talking about, in those sessions, about how people make decisions. And you see, Dr. Stone spends part of his time as an instructor, as a professor at a college up near Sacramento, but he spends part of his time in a counseling practice. Now, for people who go to a counseling practice, it's a good chance that they are there because they have made some poor decisions in their life. Some people who go to counseling, it's because life happened to them, but for many people, they are there because they made some bad choices. So the counselor is going to encourage them, obviously, to do what? Make better choices. So you have an alcoholic in the counselor's office, and the counselor says, don't drink, it's not good for you. And the alcoholic says, you're right. I see the error of my ways, I'm not going to drink anymore. Okay? Now, you can hook him up to a lie detector, and he would pass. What's wrong with that? Why is that not actually going to work?
He can't stop by himself.
He can't stop by himself. But why was it easy for him to say yes in the counselor's office? You know why? Because there's no alcohol in the counselor's office. And the pressures that he deals with that causes him stress are not present in the counselor's office. It's when he gets back into the real world that he wants a drink. See, the issue that we have here, it's not just a matter of making good decisions. Here is the question that I had for Dr. Stone, and I think this will apply to you if you're in the business of sales. The question I had was very simple. How does stress affect decision making? That's what I wanted to get to. I wanted to get to the core of that question. If you think about the application in 2011 in this market, in this economy, you think about the levels of stress that are out there, how does stress affect decision making? Dr. Stone threw this at me, kind of a curveball, took me a minute to absorb, but this is what he said. He said, Jeff, first and foremost, this is what you need to know. Stress constrains creativity. Huh? What do you mean, constrains creativity? What does that mean? Because it's harder for us to keep everything straight. Tell me more. He says, it makes us dumber. You're at PCBC. You see somebody walking towards you in the exhibit hall. You see them coming towards you. You make eye contact. You know they're walking to you. And you say to yourself, oh, here comes, oh boy, he's the guy who knows the guy. We met 2 weeks ago. He's getting closer. Here he comes. I know he knows my name. Can I just tell you? Forget it. You're not going to remember his name. When will you remember his name? As soon as he leaves. All right, good talking to you. See you. Bye. Frank. That's how suddenly it clears up. Why? Because suddenly the stress goes down and your creativity is clear. So let's think this through for just a moment. If you have a customer and you are standing in a model home and you are showing your product and your product demonstration is all about this is included, that's not. And you have to pay $500 for that, but only $75 for this over here. This is after cutoff, don't even think about it over here. If that's how your presentation is going, are you raising or lowering the level of stress of your customer? And the next thing you know here is fact is firing away at your customer, and your customer is trying to sort it all straight out. I put this in this bucket, and after a while, The next thing you know, your customer has a mental blowout. They can't handle it. If the demonstration is nothing more than sharing facts and figures, you are going to run into trouble, and you are going to cause your customer to shut down. So can I suggest this for you? If we want to figure out how we simplify the demonstration process, what do we do to keep it easy and low stress for our customer? And this is going to sound counterintuitive, but go with me for just a moment. If you want to make it easy and low stress for your customer to buy, ask him a closing question. I know that might sound counterintuitive, but I'm going to suggest to you that it's the healthiest thing you can do. Simply take the word closing and substitute the word agreement. If you look at closing as a series of agreements, not that they make with you, but agreements that they make with themselves, and every step along the way I can say, yes, I can accept this. I can accept this kitchen. I'll put it in a box, tape it up, shove it in the corner. It's done. You want to make it difficult for a customer? Don't ask them any questions all throughout the process. Ask them one gigantic question at the very, very end, and let them try and sort it all out by the time they get there. I'm going to suggest to you right now, the first thing you need to know about model demonstration is that it is not about the product, it's about the customer. And the second thing you need to know is that your purpose had better be to gain agreements all throughout this process. You better understand those two things. The third thing you need to understand is this. Buying a home is an emotional endeavor. I wish more salespeople could buy into that concept. Because the issue that we have to deal with is pandemic, in my opinion. For this reason. A customer will take their emotional cue from a salesperson. And the salesperson who's showing off a home as if they were describing an IRS 1089/Z form robs the customer of the joy of being able to partake in that at an emotional level. Is there anybody here by chance who remembers the first time they stepped over the threshold of the home that they live in right now? Anybody have that joy? Anybody remember that? I'm going to guess if you did that you had a really positive experience. That there was an emotional moment that when you walked through the door, I remember not that long ago I had the opportunity to spend a wonderful evening with Jim Adams and his wife April. And Jim's got a beautiful condo in downtown San Diego, overlooks downtown San Diego. It's in the Petco Park complex. It's really, really cool. And I remember walking through the front door of that condo with Jim for the first time. And I'm looking at these tall ceilings and just the coolest decor with, sort of the New York brick loft feel on it. I mean, it was just a huge Guinness sign on the wall. And suddenly I'm thinking, dang it, 2 minutes ago I liked being Jeff Shore, but right now I want to be Jim Adams. Right? And here's what I remember next. I'm taking it all in. I'm just blown away by how this looks. And I look over and I see Jim, and Jim's going like this. I'm over-exaggerating, but he's like, this is the coolest thing you've ever seen in his life. And now you got to know Jim. He's a passionate guy, but I got to tell you, that's what it's all about. A salesperson who wants to show him that home for the first place and say, well, there's unit 86B. It's 840 square feet over here. It's got a 9-foot ceiling. And it sucks the life right out of that customer. If you want to be great at your model demonstration, I'm going to recommend that you do three things. The first thing you do is you recognize that it's not about the product, it's about the customer. The second thing you do is you make sure that if you want to do this right, you've got to gain agreements all throughout the process. And third, and perhaps most important, do not rob your customer of the joy, of the emotional joy of falling in love. It's one of the most amazing things. It's a gift when we're able to do that, if we can do that right.